Howdy folks, welcome to the latest episode of the Colorado Woodrat channel Truck Camper Conversion Series. In the last episode, I was able to get all of the patches and holes sealed up. Now I actually get to start building things. Feels really good to get to this point. I'll start by fabricating a new roof. The current roof doesn't allow me to stand up fully, but even if it did, I would still end up changing it out. It has this cool feature where it can slide all the way back and open up the truck entirely. However, this doesn't really allow for it to be weather sealed or insulated to the degree that I want it to be. But it's all good. It just gives me more opportunities to practice my welding. My plan is to weld everything up in the shop and then eventually move it on top of the truck. I might have to get a little creative in order to get it up on top, but I've got an idea in my head that I'm kicking around. You'll just have to stay tuned to see what it is. As I've previously mentioned, I've never done anything like this before, so I don't have any shortcuts to use. We'll just have to see down the line if fabricating it in here prior to moving up onto the truck is the smart choice. But I'm pretty crafty. I'm confident I'll get her done. As far as construction of the roof goes, I'm planning on using 1-inch steel tube as the framing. The very top of it is going to be 11 gauge steel because that's all that the sheet metal supplier that I was purchasing from had available. The sides are going to be 14 gauge, which I'm pretty sure is what the rest of the truck is made from. In the designs that I've got generated on CAD, the sides are sloped at 15 degrees. The point of mounting them at 15 degrees is to hopefully allow a little bit more light to come into the windows that I will eventually be installing. Let's get to it. All right, well, got everything welded up. Now I'm gonna start grinding it down and making it look pretty. Well, I got the roof all fabricated. Feels really good to get to this point. As you can see, it is a monster. The inside might not look like the prettiest right now, but I don't care. It's all gonna get covered up. You won't ever see it. The outside though looks like one seamless piece. I'm really happy with how that turned out. A few of you might be wondering why I have these square tubes spaced so far apart. That's because I'm going to be putting in windows, and I don't want those square tube pieces to interfere with that. One thing that I thought of as I was halfway through welding it up was I might end up regretting not putting in a bow into the top of this so it would more easily shed water. We'll have to see if that's going to cause me issues down the road or not. I may end up putting in another piece of metal that raises up the middle as much as I can, but I don't know yet. I'm not sure how effective that would be at helping shed water. All that metal cost me a pretty penny, but I was really efficient in my use of it. I'm really happy with the small amount of scrap that I have left, and I think I'm still going to end up using a lot of it. For this front piece right here, I just took the circular saw and freehand cut it. It turned out really well. I took it up on top of the roof and laid it in the 45-degree position that it will eventually be in, just to make sure I had all my depths of cut precise. I got lucky and I did. Speaking of this front piece, I was struggling like crazy to try and get it to stay in one spot while I tack welded it. I came up with what I think is a pretty ingenious solution. I ended up clamping scrap metal to the inside here so it would catch on this top lip as it was leaning in place. I ran into quite a few issues when I was fabbing this whole thing up, beyond just holding things in place. I don't have an electrical sub panel out here, and that was causing me quite a few issues because I only have my welder hooked up to a 15 amp breaker. It kept tripping throughout the roof fabrication when I was welding, so I'd have to run downstairs, flip the breaker back on, come back up, and weld for a bit before it kicked back off. That's just the consequence of doing work out in a shop that is converted from a residential garage. I know how much material I used. I know the square footage and I know the length of square tube that I used. I found some nominal figures online and I calculated the approximate weight of this thing. I think it's about 270 pounds, give or take. That truck is 9 feet tall in its current condition. So lifting this up is going to be a challenge. But just like everything else in this build, I'm really looking forward to it. I love a challenge. And I'm gonna get a little creative in how I'm going to get that up there. You'll just have to stick around and find out. Needless to say, I am super excited to get this thing up on top. It'll allow me to fully stand up in there, as well as completely weather seal it. The roof that's on there right now, as I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, is not capable of being completely weather sealed. This is gonna be a pretty big milestone. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you following along with this build series. I hope you're as excited as I am to watch the rest of it come together. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. We'll see you on the next one. Stay creative.